Let me just say, I never thought that I would be in politics years ago, and so like all the Tea Party years, some guy wanted to run a power line in my rural electric co-op down through my ranch, and they were going to go from a small power line to a huge mega line, and they said it would cost $12 million, and I said, why are you building it here instead of there? He said, if I explained it to you, you wouldn't understand it, which was a mistake. The two of us took on this co-op, and we whipped them at the Public Utility Commission, and that was in about 1988. The point is, one person can make a difference. So what I've got here is I want to talk to you about 4 reports that I hope you will take up and think about. When I met Jim and Rob, I was talking about the first report is taxing entities. It's on the internet now. This first picture over here is your money and the taxing facts. There are over 5,000 entities in the state of Texas, sales tax districts, property taxing districts, MUDs, etc. And there's a website called TexasIt'sYourMoney.org. Punch in your county, wherever your county is, type in your address, and we have a website which will then spring up and will give you all of these sales taxing districts at your address that are hitting you for money. One guy in Baytown has a $48,000 home, and he has something like 11 or 12 districts. On the property tax side, you'll probably have to go to the Central Appraisal District, although we're going to try to get legislation passed so that we get a data dump, so we can then be a one-stop shop. Second one is coming out next week. And this is the second one which says, we'll work to pay public debt. I'm not expecting the grandchild. My son is expecting his first baby, which will be my grandchild. And I have been sort of obsessed with what we're doing about our kids. 16 trillion national debt, 1 trillion annual deficit, and I got to thinking we've got to quit punting onto those folks behind us. So this next report, which will be out next Wednesday, we'll talk about local debt. And I've got a cute little scary piece of paper here. I love cute little scary pieces of paper. Okay. In 2010, August 31st, look at the city of Houston. Its debt outstanding was $12 billion. And in that 10-year period from 2000 to 2010, it went up 87%. What was the population change? 7.5%. So this fewer people are paying this big whopping deal, and enrollment not available. Look at Harris County. It was $4.8 billion. Its debt increase went up 93%, and its population change went up 20%. Houston ISD is very entertaining. Houston ISD, $2.5 billion. 125% change from 2000 to 2010, and population change 4%. Houston Community College, you can see that's interesting. Their debt went up 423%. Now, I know that their enrollment's way up 38%. All right, next box. This is what you're going to be asked to vote on in the fall in November. City of Houston does not have, has a small debt, 410, I say small, I'm sorry. Why is 410 million small? It's not. It's just relatively small. So let's none of us say, oh gee, 3.1%. But look at HISD. They're going from 2.5 billion up almost 2 billion, up 77%. The community college up 68.8%. The point I want to make on this is that we have folks who believe, let me just raise this particular tax, let me set up a new taxing entity, and one of the things is the crime control districts, the special purpose library districts, all of these have good value, but not in the aggregate. When you put all this stuff together, it's pretty terrible. So the third report, which will be out in October, is going to be about education debt, because this report is every kind of debt but education. There's no high school, there's no college, there's no community college. So the next one's going to be about education debt. The reason I'm concerned about education debt is that if you look at state debt, the state of Texas has about $40 billion in debt. Roads, which we all use, TxDOT, it's about $14.5 billion. So that's 25, 26 million Texans are using the roads. The next highest percentage in debt is four-year universities. The four-year universities are at $13.5 billion and change, which is for 400, 500,000 folks. My three kids all went to college. I'm a supporter of post-secondary school, but not every place needs a new building. And as we go online, as we become more online classes, we have to ask ourselves, do I really need a new building or do I need IT infrastructure? So we'll take a look at that. The last report is pensions. All of you guys, you know what's happening in Houston. You've got extraordinary problems with the pension funds. You have not enough money being contributed by the folks. You have extraordinarily rich benefits, and you have lack of clarity. This report that we're going to put out, which should be out the first week of November, is going to talk about sort of who's running the asylum. If I'm the beneficiary, I really probably am never going to cut myself off. And so one of the things we're going to be looking at is asking people, should we in fact be changing the pension management? These 4 reports will be out. They'll all be online. www.texasitsyourmoney.org. The first one is already at texasitsyourmoney.org, a long run-on sentence. So you say, well, why is Susan Combs worried about this? Well, I've done 40 town halls, and I'm worried about this as the state's chief financial officer because of Medicaid and $16 trillion and $1 trillion. And we have seen the Medicaid piece of the pie chart go from 14% in 2000 to 20% in 2010, projected to be 35% in 2023, which will put incredible downward pressure on the other 2 big chunks. The other big chunk is public ed, K through 12. That has already shrunk from 45% to about 41%. It will be further compressed. The third part of this pie chart is everything else, which is roads, water, community colleges, prisons, you name it. It's all going to be compressed. So what you have is you have the Affordable Care Act and you have the feds with how they're handling Medicaid. They're basically sucking all of the financial oxygen out of the room. So anything else that you care about is going to be compressed. So I did all these town halls, and I said, what it means for us is if I can't control Washington, which I can't, I can at least give all of you the tools in the Tea Party, in small groups locally, to please inform yourself so that when somebody says, oh, trust me, this is really good, it's not really good. And I'll give you the one example that sort of bothers me is a crime control district. I used to be a prosecutor. I worked for the famous Henry Wade in Dallas. I threw kids in jail. I rescued children who were being abused. But if I were the police chief in ABC town, and I have a $20 million budget, and I like cops, and I like cars, and I like crime control, but I got 20 million bucks, and I decided I need some more money. I don't want to go to the city of ABC and ask for more money. So what I say is, oh my gosh, we have a terrible new problem. We have graffiti, or we have whatever. So we need a crime control district for this very particular problem. Trust me, it's a great idea. And so I get all of you, wonderful people, to vote for Susan's crime control district to take care of graffiti. Get you all convinced. So my 20 million budget, because it's 5 million, is now swelled by about 25% to 25 million. But you don't aggregate the fact that I went from 20 to 25. It's a crime control district. It's not even connected. The fact that Susan's running it, you kind of don't think about. The point is, this is like the poor little frog in the water. Imagine you got a frying pan, frog sitting in there, and somebody keeps turning up the heat. What I'm trying to do with these reports, and I'm going to be pretty relentless about this, is let all of us frogs figure out A, when to hop, B, when to turn the fire off, and C, when to say, get me out of the doggone frying pan. This is extraordinary. And I was in Washington last week. I was in Tampa with you guys. I was in Washington. I met with Grover Norquist folks, Freedom Works, Cato Institute, Heritage Foundation, and I said, is there anybody else in the country doing this kind of stuff? And I want to tell you, it's been a nightmare to accumulate the information. It shouldn't be that hard. It shouldn't be hard for you to find out how to empower yourself. So, like me and my power line, when the guy told me if I explained it to you, you wouldn't understand it, well, We got rid of him, turned over the board, took us 3 elections, got kind of feisty, and so we changed it. And we didn't spend $12 million; we spent $80,000 to fix the problem with the power line instead of $12 million. It's just kind of fun. It's kind of a fun story. The point is, I just wanted to drop by here and say, please go on the web. Go take a look at this. If the report is not clear, if you think, gee, I wish you'd fix it up, let me know. We're customer centric. You're the customer. You're the taxpayers. There was a interesting bond lawyer that came to see me last week. I was trying to have him talk about pensions and about bonds, and he said, if we tell these people about all of the money, because I said, I want on the ballot, I want, as I go to vote for the next $48 million, I want to know what I'm already on the hook for. What is the debt outstanding on the face of the ballot? He said, oh, if we do that, nobody will vote for it.
That's right.
Now, I got to tell you, that's fairly entertaining, because we are the frauds. And so I'm just having fun with this stuff. I just wanted to come and visit with you about this, and let's just keep on whipping and spurring, as we say in the cattle business. So, thank you. Yes, sir.
Do you have any idea of how much the illegal alien issue is costing the state?
No, in fact, I've been asked before about whether the illegals, whether I can get a number on that. No, I cannot. And the reason being is that with the federal privacy laws, you cannot find out about this. We've tried, we've run some numbers on this. For adults, my folks tell me they believe, generally speaking, unless you're a pregnant female, that generally speaking, adults don't get treated, but I'm sure that children do. But I can't extract that information. Yes, sir.
I'm obviously a retired citizen, senior citizen, and I have a lot of free time, and I just spend a lot of time with databases and working on $100 million projects, and I want to volunteer. How can, just trying to get people to vote is one thing, but what about more volunteers?
Here's what I want you to do. That's what this is for. What I would like is I want you to go on these reports and pick a taxing entity to observe. Make that your hobby. Pick a taxing entity, pick a bond project, pick something, because I'm trying to give you the information to write letters to the editor, to go to the meetings. I told you my power line story because I do know that one person can get into. You just got to be relentless.
Exactly. I agree.
Relentless.
But you got to have a way to find out what to do. That's what you're trying to do.
I got it here.
Okay.
And if it's not good enough, holler at me.